Google is a search. It's not a database. It doesn't contain items. It contains links to items. And there's more than one way to Google. This, of course, is the main traditional way, all along on a single page. But there's different ways to do it. Let's kind of delve into those, because Google's actually a very important part of the research process. It does not contain everything. Sadly, people don't go past the first page of results, but it can be used as an awesome tool of research excellence. As you know, we're doing COVID-19 as our search, and I'm just going to go here and just do the basic search, and we're going to go across the top part of this. I don't know, have you ever seen this before? This is all. This is news. That's right, you can find newspapers. So if you have a project that needs a newspaper, needs current information, needs up-to-date annotates, interviews, perhaps maybe some primary sources, this is the section of Google you want to refine too. Even better, if you come over here, you can use tools. You can sort by relevance, which includes date, and you can do recent. Suppose you're working on a fast-moving topic. Maybe you want to know what happened in the last 24 hours. In this case, it shows that there's some studies that came out that says the coronavirus can spread in airline flights. So now we're wondering, will that middle seat forever be free? So I'm going to go back up here to the all. Let's see what else we have available. Of course, books, videos, and images, which we often use. I want to be very clear. This is a very dangerous place to look for images. Oftentimes, these are copyrighted. Further on in the course, I'm going to advocate using something like unsplash.com because it's hard to cite something if you don't understand who did it. Google does not own these images, so Google cannot be what you use in your citation from Google Images. Each one of these comes from a different place. Here, this we know comes from New York Times. You may or may not be able to use it in a public place. So make sure you understand that Google Images is slightly a dangerous place. Make sure that you use images that are reputable and that you understand the copyrights for. Also, you'll see we have shopping, maps, flights, and finance. But for this course, the big Google search and understanding how to find current news will be very important to your success for this course and some other ways of looking at it. Now, I'm going to show you something else. It used to be, it keeps moving, so I have to search for it. It used to be on this little bar up here, like more things, more ways to do your search, but it's the Google Advanced Search. Now, if you're looking at a perfect way to construct a search, this lays it out piece by piece. This lets you know. It wants to know your keywords. Type them all in. Put in exact words in quotes. That's right, you can phrase search on Google if you're looking for something like health literacy. And that happens to be the topic I'm working on, so that's going to be my tab. So I'm going to leave it right there. I'm just going to put in the word COVID, less is more. In between the types of the words, if you want, you can actually do Boolean searching. So I'm going to put and. We'll talk a little bit more about this. It's going to be part of your final project as well. None of these words. Suppose something keeps coming up in this search that messes up your search results. For instance, when I do a search on Florida plants, I get nuclear plants. You could say not nuclear. Google allows you the same way. Even on the main page, it would be negative, the word you want to get rid of, or come to Google Advanced, you'll be able to get rid of it here. This also lets you find different languages, regions. Sometimes when you're working or trying to break out of that echo chamber and bubble, this will help you do so by selecting and looking at other regions. If you're trying to understand maybe how something is happening in Florida versus Washington, this might be very helpful. National versus international. Also, if you want to look for a domain type, if you're looking for .gov, that's a government site, and you can search for those specifically. .edu, also .orgs. If you forget that, it has it right over here to the right hand side. This really is one of the most complete training wheels type setup I've seen of a search. So I hope that you do take the time to look at it. So once you put those in, you of course go to their search. You'll notice immediately a lot of the ads are stripped out of this search. I have less junk. In a way, it helps you break out of your echo chamber and your bubble to use Google Advanced, because you're trying to make it look at things in different ways and do different types of searches, so it's not pushing as much information to you that you don't need, that it thinks you expect to see. So we'll be able to look at these, and this is actually looking at my annotated bibliography. Quite a few excellent things. Some of them might be webinars. If I wanted to get rid of webinars, I could put negative webinar in my piece. I think I should go through these. This is really a fantastic little group of search results. As you can see, I actually have a healthy and wonderful respect for Google. I just like the Google tools a little bit better. So I've shown you Google. I've shown you Google News and how to find things that are up to date, like in the past 24 hours. I've shown you Advanced Google, where you could search for things, kind of break out of the bubble of getting things that Google thinks you need to see to the things you actually need to find. And now I'm going to show you my favorite thing of them all. And I'm going to steal this search. I'm going to take you to the library databases to show you this. This is the library page. I'm going to databases A to Z. This again is a list of 132 databases. I'm going to G for Google because I have developed a link that'll show you the full text of Google Scholar. If any of you have used it, you are probably not impressed. I'm like, why does this exist? This exists so you can find scholarly articles. It also connects them in a beautiful way. Do you see over here to the right hand side? Let's kind of go down further. You see this? This lets you know when you click on it that it's available at the at Big Bend Community College. And this is really exciting, by the way. So now it's not just a tool for just randomly finding things that you can't get to. You can get to these. See these things? These are PDFs. These are different places you can see it. If you click on this, you should be able to review it for free. I would say 85% of the time. If you click on the title, oh, you're going to hit a paywall. So, another thing that it does and it allows for is citation searching. Remember, part of the academic writing process is not to tell everybody what you think and what you feel. It's to demonstrate that you have read other people's writings, that you've looked for the science, that you've looked for the facts, that you've looked for the research, good, bad, and ugly, and put together and synthesize and transform this information into a unique academic product where you've attributed all your findings to the sources and placed your beautiful scholarly feet into the footsteps of giants. Very important concept. A way you could do this is called citation searching is one of the things. So this was written in 2020. It was cited by 43 people. This is pretty significant. And actually, this is not in my annotated bibliography, but it so should be. When I click on cited by 43 people, I will now have other people who have referenced and cited this work and research in their own research. You want to build that path. You want to build that ongoing scientific knowledge piece. As an academic writer, that's your job. And Google Scholar makes it extremely possible. I want you to see over here the excitement of seeing, yes, you can use Google Scholar to find full text materials. And if you can't find it, ask me. I will try to find a copy of it for you. That's what interlibrary loan and librarians are for. So it is never a dead end. This is a universe of awesome. One other thing you can use Google Scholar for is, see this little citation piece? It has the citations. Now, these are not right, copy and correct. But if you've forgotten some page numbers or you can't find author or you don't think you have something spelled correctly, this is a great place to find a backup when you're using scholarly articles. Now, I'm going to go show you another thing in the library databases, and it's Britannica. Now, and log in. I haven't been in this in some time. When we're looking at Wikipedia and Britannica, we're seeing two things that have a sort of the same setup. It's alphabetic and it's by topic. It's just that Britannica, of course, is behind a paywall, but it also is vetted. It is edited. You can't change it at midnight like Wikipedia. So if you want the Wikipedia approach and you've been told not to use Wikipedia, this is where you go. So if you're just looking for definitions, I'm not sure it'll have a definition of this topic. I hope it does. But when you're doing, putting together your piece, sometimes you need some essential definitions. And this is not going to help me out. So I'm going to go up here and put it in quotes and do a phrase search. I'm leaving the good, bad, and ugly in here, by the way, colleagues, because we need to see sometimes things don't work. And this does not work. It might work better in Wikipedia or not. If I've been in COVID, which I'm going to pronounce 5,000 different ways during all of this course, I'm going to have some different things. And actually, I'm going to come up with some pretty good keywords as well. This is also going to offer me up images I can use, videos, dictionary, journals, periodicals, and best websites. For me, the Britannica is a wash. For you, it may not be. It may be a great way to identify something. Another thing it may be good for is when you're trying to figure out, does this organization or person have authority and credibility? If they're in here, you'll be able to find a little bit of information about them, and you might be able to make those determinations. So, I'm going to go now into Wikipedia. I'm not sure it's going to help me personally more for this particular topic. I'm going to put in health literacy. And guess what? It does. It doesn't exactly exist in a beautiful form, but your professor, instructor may say not to use Wikipedia. You know, it can be changed at midnight. Sometimes it is written by so-called amateurs. The editors may not be top of the line. See me moving this up and down. But do you know what it does give you? You may not use this specifically, but you may use it to find the factors, law and legislation, words and keywords that will be useful in your research. I think Wikipedia is a great tool in the research process. It may not end up being in your references. It may not be something you end up citing, but it's going to be something that you use to find other information. And that's why the Britannicas and the other reference type information is very awesome. But this is one of the great things about Wikipedia. We have the citations, and in many cases, we have the links. And it may be that you do not cite the Wikipedia, but you use it to find these other pieces which may be very valuable in your work. And in this case, while you've used Wikipedia, you're not citing Wikipedia. You're using it as a tool to find things that are credible, that do have authority, that you can review and critically think about as part of the process of research. I hope this was helpful. As usual, if you have questions, please, please, please reach out to me.